Hi everyone, I'm Rosemary, and in today's video, I have more DIY high-end decor using Lowe's and Home Depot hacks. This is actually the third video in this series, and if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, I will link them here and also in the description. But let's go ahead and jump right into this video with this drywall mud pan that I picked up at Lowe's. And what I like about this is its dimensions, especially the low height, which reminds me of all those beautiful decorative troughs that you see in all of the high-end stores. I really like the cast iron finish of the Restoration Hardware piece up there on the top right, and wanted to try this hammered black spray paint in a flat finish to see if I can attain the same effect. To prepare the pan, I simply remove the metal scrapers at the top, and they just pop right out. And hang on to those because they would make great additions in another DIY project. But after that, I just sanded down the surface with some sandpaper to prepare the plastic for the spray paint. In addition, I also wanted to try the matte hammered spray on this piece that I picked up at Goodwill for just $2.99. I cleaned that piece up, and then it was time to paint. Unfortunately, the paint was not coming on the way I had hoped. It really wasn't giving much of a hammered effect and was even leaving some glossy, non-matte spots. I tried to apply in short bursts to see if that would increase the texturizing, but that only had a minimal improvement. So here you can see the close-up of the results. It's not terrible, and it does give somewhat of a texturized finish, but it is uneven, and those glossy spots are really taken away from that matte cast iron finish I wanted to achieve. To fix this, I turned to one of my favorite paint mixes, spackle paint. I usually use this to create earthenware or concrete finishes, but mixed with black paint, it would also be perfect for this cast iron look application. To make, I mixed equal parts of spackle and chalk paint, and then thinned with a little water for easier application. To apply, I used a stencil brush and pounced the paint over the surface of the container. I also did the same process to the thrifted metal tray, again to create that faux cast iron appearance. And then here again is a close-up of the finish, and this is a much more in line with that matte texturized finish I was wanting. And then here again on the thrifted tray, a much better look than the tinny gray painted piece that we started with. And then a comparison of the finishes, and I think that black spackle paint mixture got us pretty close to the finish of the inspiration piece there on the bottom. But the real winner for me was that thrifted tray upcycle, transformed from a tinny tray you would easily pass over at the thrift store to a fabulous statement piece that you would easily think came from a high-end store. For the next several projects, I'm going to be making use of one of these large 5-gallon buckets that both Lowe's and Home Depot sell. I thought it would be fun to take one of those and add some texture. I found this table runner in the clearance section at Marshall's for just $5, but I will have to save that for another DIY because then I found these beautiful bamboo placemats at Ross, which I liked even better for this project at just 4 for $4.99. My idea is to wrap the bottom of the buckets with the placemats after spray painting the bucket. I'm going to give that hammered spray paint another try, one because I still have a full can, plus I think it will work better for this application. For 2 of the projects, I'm also going to be using the bucket lid that you can purchase separately for $1.98. I will also be sanding the surface of the lid before taking it outside to spray it with the spray paint. But since this is a more expensive spray paint, I will only use it on the top exposed portions and use regular black paint for the bottom. And then here you can see a close-up of the finish, and that paint has redeemed itself in this application, giving a nice, slightly textured finish, which masks the plastic surface underneath. The placemats were a little bit long, so I did have to trim the bottoms before applying, but they cut really easily with a pair of scissors. To attach the placemats to the bucket, I used E6000 glue and lined up the edge of the placemat with the bucket handle. If you prefer, you could also remove the bucket handle, but since I thought it added a cute accent, I decided to leave mine. Then I added a second placemat, starting where the first one ended, there at the bucket handle, and again using E6000 glue and slightly overlapping the 2 placemats. And then that's it for this first option. A beautiful, large, decorative, and sturdy basket to store almost anything from clothes and toys to throws and pillows, including this pom-pom pillow from a previous DIY, which I will link here and in the description. Option 2 would be to add the lid to create a beautiful and functional side table, which is the perfect height next to an armchair or sofa and has the added benefit of having storage underneath. And then a third option would be to put a round pillow on top of the lidded bucket so that you can create a little stool and add some additional seating. Next up, I'm again going to do a multi-option project, but this time using tomato cages, and of course these are available at either Lowe's or Home Depot or any garden store. And what I did here was take the tomato cages, and on those long pointy ends that stick into the ground, I just took some wire cutters and snipped those off at the bottom. Now, if you have a strong grip, you can just snip them right off. And if not, you can kind of just score them with the wire cutters and then just kind of snap and they come right off. And then after I removed the ends from 2 of the cages, I just placed one inside the other, positioning them so that the spokes of one fell halfway between the spokes of the other. Next, I still had some of that black hammered spray paint, so I used that to paint the cages. And then once the paint was dry, I took some Dollar Tree nautical rope and attached it there at the bottom with some hot glue, and then just began wrapping it all the way around the top of my 2 cages. And I'll only hot glue about every 4 or 5 wraps until I get to the end where I'll cut it and then again just secure with hot glue. Next, I'll just repeat the process for the bottom end of the cages. For the base, I'll be using this plastic lid to a pretzel container, which just happens to fit right in there, but you could use any lid or even a cardboard cutout, and then I'll just hot glue it into place. To cover the base, I again use more of the nautical rope, starting at the inside edge and hot gluing the rope to the base. I continued that process all the way around, circling the base with the rope until I got to the center. And then that's it for the first tomato cage project, a beautiful large-sized wire basket with a natural rope detail. Looking at it now, I probably would have used 3 or maybe even 4 of the tomato cages to make it a little bit more of a substantial piece. But nonetheless, I still think it creates a beautiful, decorative, and functional decor piece, perfect for holding pillows and throws. And to give you an idea of the capacity, it is actually holding 2 full-size throws here with room for a third or even a pillow. For the last project, I'm simply going to take that same cage combo without the rope and flip it so that that larger side is facing down. But first, I want to go ahead and add a base, and lo and behold, the 5-gallon bucket lid fits the bill perfectly. Then voila, you have the makings of an impressive, oversized, high-end lantern. Add a few candles and you have a gorgeous statement piece. However, if you plan to use open flames, this is definitely for tabletop use. Otherwise, use glass enclosed or flameless candles. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this third edition of DIY home decor using Lowe's and Home Depot hacks. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give a big thumbs up, as it really does help to get the YouTube algorithms to pick up the video, and I can use all the help I can get. And if you haven't yet seen the first 2 videos, I will again link them in the description as well as at the end of this video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on FABEDhacks, where we're putting the extra and ordinary one DIY at a time.